Happy Thursday, it's Captain Coder here. About to hop into another Clash of Code. For those of you not familiar with what Clash of Code is, there's a website called Coding Game. It's a website where you can practice your coding skills, level up. It doesn't really teach you to program, but it is a place to practice programming, especially programming competition type problems. A lot of these are interview type problems. But Clash of Code is one of my favorites. It is a little 8-player competition, up to 8 players. You can also do some private ones. It's not necessarily just up to 8 players. Looks like I got one called Reverse Mode today. You can see what the inputs and outputs are supposed to be, and from that you have to write a program to solve it. So given I have an input Bov, B-O-V-V-V, let, I should get B-O-W, let, bolet. Looks to me like if I get 3 V's, 3 or more V's in a row, it should be translated to a W. All right, so I'm looking at these inputs, B-O-V-V-V, let, should be O-W, let, B-O, bunch of V's, bolet. All right, so I need to be able to write a program that detects the number of V's I get. And I'm guessing I need from 3 V's. 3 or more V's turns into a W, because I don't see any that are less than 3. All right, so we gotta come in, we gotta write a program that detects these. I'm gonna go for there's always many ways to approach these. Take a sip of my coffee here, and then I'm gonna dive in. So Clash of Code, you get 15 minutes to do this. You get scored based on how quickly you do it, but I'm not too worried about getting it done the fastest. I'm more about getting it done. So let's give it a shot here. All right, so my message here, I need to be able to count, in this case, the number of V's, consecutive V's. So I'm gonna create a variable called V count. And I haven't seen any V's yet, so I'm gonna set it to 0. And then I'm gonna write a for loop. I'm gonna use a for each loop on this string. So for each, oh, and I'm in C#, by the way. For each character ch in message. All right, so I have a loop that I'm gonna look at my characters one at a time. I'm gonna say if my ch happens to be a V, I'm gonna increase V count plus plus. I'm gonna get my V count to go up by 1. And then I need to check to see, do I have, it's a little tricky here, because I want it to keep counting those V's, right? All right, so I'm gonna get all of my V's. If I'm not a V, all right, so I have, if I am a V, I'm gonna increase my V count by 1. If I'm not a V, and V count is greater than or equal to 3. All right, I need to put a W in that place. So I need another thing called an accumulator. I need to be keeping track of, okay, what is my final output string going to be? And you don't necessarily have to have this tracker, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna call this answer. My answer starts out as the empty string. You can do 2 double quotes like this would get an empty string in C#. The like quote unquote official canonical way that they recommend doing is doing string.empty. This is sort of what the C# style guide suggests. Not 100% necessary to do a string and empty, but I'm gonna do it that way because that's sort of what they want. So in this case, if I'm gonna do an else if my V count is greater than or equal to 3, I'm going to append a W to the end. So this is gonna catch a couple cases here. When I have a V, it's gonna keep reading that V in. I wonder what I'm supposed to do if I have 2 V's. Do I just put those 2 V's we'll see. We'll see if the test cases get us here. So I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. The instructions are unclear since it's the reverse one. I bet if I had the problem statement, it'd be a little bit better. I'm going off on a tangent here. Sorry. So if I'm equal to V, I'm increasing my V count. When I don't have a V, so I'm only going to get here if the character is not a V. My V count is greater than or equal to 3. I'm going to put a W there. So it takes all those V's, puts a W. And then finally, I also, in this case, I've encountered a character that is not a V. I need to add that character as well. So I need to add the CH to the end of that. All right. Where is this? I feel like I'm missing a little thing here. Let's try else. Answer plus equals CH. I think that'll do it. Feeling a little weird about this CH here. I'm wishing there was a slightly better way to do that. And I think there is. I could, I could do this. I could just have an else. And inside of this, so I got a minor thing where I'm not repeating code now. Okay. So in the case where I'm not a V, I just want to append that letter. And there's probably going to be a case where it's like if I was a V. Anyway, let's see how we did here so far. All right, so if my V count is greater than or equal to 3, I'm going to put a W, so I'm going to skip all the V's, and I still need to append that. If I end up here, if I wasn't a V, I know that I want to append that character. Let's see sort of how I did. Oh, I've already failed one. I've already failed the very first test. Maybe I should have looked at it first. And so I found bowl, W-E-W-T, should be bowlet. Okay, so interesting. Oh, I expected bowlet. So my input must have been, oh, I need to reset my, I see what happened here. All right, check it out. My V count, I started putting a W after everything. So after I put a W in there, my V count needs to get reset back to 0. That's sort of what needs to happen. In this else case, I have seen 0 V's. Oh, I'm about to make a mistake here. After I've done this check, my V count should go to 0 because I have no more V's. All right, let's see. Let's see if I pass my tests here. I got test 1. That's 2, test 3. Test 4. Okay, so I failed this one. Found BOL. Should have been BOLW. My guess is that if I set this to 2, I can't see what the input is. I could I can write my own inputs here though. So come down here. So I have a feeling that the input was BOL VV, and I think they wanted my output BOLW. Well, now it's gonna work because I've updated this. Let's try it here. See how I do. Oh, that one's taking a while. EOLW. I wish I knew what my input was. Let's try just one. Try just test 4 again. Found BOL, expected BOLW. So this means that there is something at the end of the word. Oh, this is tricky. BOL BVV. Oh, I know what's going on. I'm being silly here. Let's go back to 3. I think that's really the intent here. I'm just looking at this test here. All right, everyone laughing at me, going, come on, see it. All right, BOL VVVV. mine here, if the last letter happens to be a V, I increase my V count, and then there's no other letter in I come here to the end. So I need one little check here at the end. I don't like this too much, so I'm sort of repeating myself here, but essentially this check, this check here, this if, after my loop needs to happen again to get that final W at the end. So this is gonna get all my tests to pass here, I think. Let's check it out. Yeah, so now all the tests pass. There's a couple things that I don't think I like about this. What should I do if I have 2 V's? What should I do if I have 1 V? So right now, if I have 1 V, if I have 1 or 2 V's, it just sort of gets rid of them. They don't come through. So we're missing what I think are some relevant test cases. If I had the actual problem statement, I would get a little bit more information on how to do that. So not a little bit annoying in that regard. Another thing I could do, all right, so instead of just building, this is what I call an accumulator. A lot of loops, you have what's called an accumulator, where you're sort of accumulating an answer. Instead of accumulating, I could always just write it directly out. So I actually don't need this variable. If I'm not going to use it more than once, I can actually just do a console.write W like this. So I could do this, console.write ch, and then down here I still need console.write W. So this, I think, is another solution where I've removed that variable that's accumulated. Instead, I'm using sort of the buffer, the screen, the terminal buffer. Let's see if we do that. See what we get. Okay. All right. Not bad. I don't like that I sort of have this if statement twice. It's a little bit annoying to me. There's probably a more clever way to do this. I'm sure I could use some kind of regular expression to detect some number of V's in a row and just do like some kind of string replace. That's probably a much cleaner solution than this for loop. But we're looking at improving like our general coding skills. Let me see if I can write that. In C#, I haven't done a lot of regular expression stuff. I have 2 minutes left. Let's go for it. I bet I can do message.replace. See, what does it say here? Old char. Let's see, do they have one? Old value. Can I do a regular expression? Let's look up the documentation real quick. C# string replace regex. Replace method. Regex. In a specified input string, replace strings that match a regular expression pattern with a specified string replacement. Oh, if I had a little more time, I could do this. See, do they give an example? Give me an example. Here we go. I'm gonna have to import this. Minute 30 seconds. And then once I got that, regex.replace. All right, yep, I can always just submit this at the last second if I don't quite get it in here. So my input is message. My pattern is gonna be V. All right, and so I have at least VVV I want repeating V, so my pattern I think would look like that. And my replacement is a W. All right. Call it Sol. Again, I'm not, you know, I should be better at this. Let's see what happens. Let me comment this out real quick. Oh my goodness. Down to the wire. Down to the wire. Oh, I think that's gonna be it. So I've told it to find any regular expression that has 2 V's and then a repeating third V with a W. I can't believe I got that in the last moment there. So there's different ways to do it. If you know how regular expressions work, then you can get that in there. I hope this was useful for you. Let's share my code. It's a little late. No one's gonna see me because I was the last one there. Maybe someone will. But let's take a look. One of the things I love about the Clash code, one of the things I love about Coding Game is people are encouraged to share their code, to learn from each other. I thought that one was pretty fun. I'm gonna go with exciting. We got excited there at the end. I didn't think it was too difficult. The test case relevancy, I don't think was good. I'm gonna go with low test case relevancy because they're missing the case. What am I supposed to do? And it's just because it was the verse. Maybe if it wasn't reverse, it would have been a little better. What am I supposed to do if I have 1 V? What am I supposed to do if I have 2 V's? They only showed examples with 3 V's. So I don't know that the test case, it really should have had some in there with more V's. The test cases needed to let me know what to do in the case of 1 or 2 V cares. All right, let's check out what some of these other ones, see if they're super legible or not. Okay, so here's the Python version of the for loop version that I did. Start with a T. They named it T. Mine was called solution, I think. And then they loop through, say for every I in message. In mine, I called it CH. So for every letter, for every character in the string, we increase T. We add that to it, and then if it is not equal to W, we add a W. If it's not equal to V, we append it. Else, if the it's saying if the end of T, so T minus 1. So in Python, minus 1 is saying get the very last character. It's saying if the last character is not a W, we add a W. So when we get a V, if it wasn't a W, we add a W. Oh, that's kind of clever. So in their case, they're not counting the V's. Instead, they're saying, okay, as soon as I see a V, I'm gonna put a W in there, and then just if I keep seeing if the thing right before me was a W, just ignore it. It's a pretty clever solution. Let's see what Zert did. Thank you, Zert, for sharing your code. Again, similar. Looks like similar to what we did. They're using an index-based loop, so it's saying for every index in the length of our input, so start at index 0, 1, 2, 3, go through each character. If the character's a V and the character after it's also a V, all right, so they're doing sort of look ahead. They're saying, can I find 2 V's in a row? We're gonna put a W there. And then they're doing a replace that. Then they're taking the other string and replacing the V's with nothing. So they go through, they look at the string. If they find 2 V's in a row, they put a W there, and then they get rid of the W's. They sort of chop the W's out, the V's out. And then at the end, they print it out. So they sort of do an accumulation thing. All right, that was a pretty neat. I enjoyed that. That was a pretty good one. I like the reverse ones. I like the speed runs. Not a big fan of the Code Golf shortest mode, but I hope you found this useful, and keep on hacking.